This is, without doubt, the most comfortable thing I have ever worn. It's basically a cross between a sleeping bag and a baby grow. It is so comfortable, it makes a Christmas evening in front of the fire feel like a naked run through nettles, or a duvet day feel like a 24-hour cross-examination from your mother-in-law. But it reminds me of our culture. As a society, we pursue comfort like almost nothing else. And for so many of us, being as comfortable as possible is our main aim in life. Comfortable in a physical sense. Soft chairs, bigger cars, king-size beds. Comfortable in an emotional sense. No awkward moments, secure relationships, lots of Facebook friends. And comfortable in a financial sense. No mortgage, good pension, lots of disposable income. Comfort shields us, protects us, literally cushions us from pain. But it also hides us. And if you've ever played hide and seek, you will know that there are good and bad places to hide. When I was little, I was amazing at hide and seek. I was really small, so I could stand on the windowsill behind the curtain, and my mates would give up before they found me. And then, on their go, I'd find them under the bed. There are good and bad places to hide, but there are also good and bad reasons for hiding. When the first humans fall out with God, they are found hiding in the trees. And when a messenger of God decides he doesn't want to go to the city that he's been sent to, he is found hiding in the cabin of a ship. And we have learned our lessons from those early games of hide and seek. Because as a society, we are amazing at hiding. But the ships and the trees that we find are things like busyness, relationships, jobs, sports, good coffee, box sets, or the more obvious vices. Comfort hides us. If I think of the times in my life when I've grown most in character, it's been moments when I've been totally out of my comfort zone. When I've taken on stuff without knowing how I'm going to get through it. Times when you know it's not about you and you put yourself at the mercy of others or God. When you're totally out of control and you realise just how fragile your confidence, your reputation, or even your very existence is. Or maybe times of grief. When I was 21, I was having lunch with my mum, and a friend calls and says, "Phil, your dad has died." Each of the first syllables landing like a boxer's jab before the knockout blow of the final word. Phil, your dad has died. Now I would say I became a Christian at 6 years old, and there have been many life-defining moments on my journey since then. But I cannot point to a greater occasion when I knew God so close or grew closer to Jesus than those few weeks after that event. So if we hide in the trees and flee on our ships with all that we are from moments of suffering, do we miss encounters with God? So a first century writer called Paul, writing about the big picture of God's plan for our lives, says that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character, hope. I meet so many people who are desperate to hear God's will for their lives, asking about big decisions like where should I live? What job should I do? Which of the queue of people should I marry? Down to the small things, Lord, what should I have for breakfast? And I believe in a God who is interested in all of these things and sometimes clearly guides us to decisions in these areas. But I think these things are secondary to God's big plan for our lives. And this is about the kind of person that we are rather than the life decisions we make. God's goal for you is that you become more like Jesus, to follow him, to grow in character, to have his spirit rule in your life. And my question is this: if we hold so tightly to being comfortable, fleeing every situation that might involve suffering, do we run the risk of missing those opportunities to fulfill God's will for our lives? Because suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope.
Can even too much comfort spiritually kill us? When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it must first escape its cocoon. To do so is an immense effort. It takes everything that it has. But without it, if anyone helps it, it dies. When you become a Christian, you enter a war. You don't board a cruise liner, but a battleship. Is there such a thing as spiritual comfort? Not taking risks in your relationship with God. Praying only safe prayers. Not giving time or money until it hurts. Not stepping out in situations where without divine intervention, you run the risk of looking like an idiot. But surely deliberately making yourself uncomfortable for the sake of it is just masochism. Pursuing pain, seeking out awkward situations, overly dramatising crises, never enjoying yourself for fear you're missing out on God's plans. And it is. Jesus promises us life in all its fullness. Turns H2O into Merlot. Takes a squash-packed lunch and turns it into a seafood platter. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He prepares a banquet for me. And yet there is a balance. He calls his followers to come out of their hiding places and face life full on. He asks us to trust him and make sacrifices that are actually for our benefit because they help others and help us to grow. What good is it if you gain everything you want, yet lose you, the real you? He calls us to die that we might really live. So where does your balance lie? How comfortable are you? How much do you pursue comfort? I know that in my life, comfort itself can become an idol, and I'm desperate to slay the beast, to strike the balance between embracing on one hand the pleasure, the fun, the adventure of life, and on the other, the call to the battle, perseverance when life hurts, and a life of risk and mission. I challenge you to find that balance too.